Welcome back. So, I'm doing a new segment of videos related to fear, stress, and making yourself mentally resilient. Okay? It's focused on mental toughness, emotional resiliency, and cognitive control. Being able to control your mind so that not only can you function well in a survival situation, but you can be more effective in your day-to-day life. So my last video was on fear, and basically it was just introduction to what fear is and problems that go along with it, stress and so on and so forth. Now I'm going to actually get into the meat and potatoes of this, and I'm going to talk about some coping mechanisms for it, as well as getting into a little bit more of my second moral after courage, which is willpower and perseverance. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So for those of you who have a fear, it could be an immediate fear, something like spiders, or it could be a crippling fear or a phobia that affects your everyday life. Fear of heights, anything like that. Basically, I want to talk about some coping mechanisms for it now. Last video we talked about focusing on the fear. Actually feeling what it feels like to be scared and making the mental connection to see what feelings you're attaching to that fear, so that you can remove those negative thoughts and feelings and replace it with something a little bit more positive, allowing you to be more effective and completing your goal or your mission. So we're going to move on from that a little bit, and we're going to talk about kind of emotional numbness. Okay? When you're talking about survival and things like that, this can be helpful in many areas. If you ever get kidnapped, caught, captured, prisoner of war, something along an extreme, they call this situation the gray man. Okay? No facial expression, no emotion, no real giveaway. Okay? And that helps a lot with fear. When you look at things with a Zen type of philosophy, or whatever philosophy that you want to look at it, and you kind of just mitigate that, you look at things with realism. Okay? You look at them logically. Okay? If you're afraid of heights, you can look at this and say, okay, well, what really is so bad about heights? What is it really that I'm afraid of? Do some soul searching. Dig deeper. Find the source of that problem. And until you do that, you're not going to be able to solve the problem. Once you get to that source, you can start moving back up. Okay? The best way to build a house is to start at the foundation. Okay? If you don't have the foundation, your house is going to crumble. So, basically, I want to talk about courage first. One of the parts of my creed and my morals foundation is tackling things head on. Okay? When you don't tackle things head on, you kind of beat around the bush, sugarcoat things, you don't get things done in a timely manner, and you don't get them done directly. Okay? Tackling things head on. Kind of that famous quote where the way is through. Okay? When you have a fear, I'm going to use the fear of heights as an example for this. You need to tackle it head on. Don't wait around, don't procrastinate, because what's going to happen is it's like a snowball effect. The further it goes down the mountain, and meaning the further you wait to tackle it head on, the further it's going, the bigger the snowball is going to get, the more it goes down the mountain. And it's just going to crash harder the bigger it gets. And which is not good for you, and that's why I'm trying to help and share the little bit of knowledge that I have on this topic to try and help folks out there the way that they have helped me in my struggles. Because believe me, I have my struggles as well. I'm human. So, but tackle things head on. Okay, you need to have that survival mindset. It's part of survival psychology, is having that mindset to tackle things head on, doing whatever it takes to accomplish your mission. That's the biggest thing I noticed for fear is you need to have a goal. You need to have a mission, and this goes not just for fear or survival. This goes for just everyday life. You need to have a set goal, and you need to have a mission objective. Okay. There's another famous quote saying, "He who has a reason to live can bear almost anyhow," and that is kind of the point that I'm trying to get at. When you have a specific mission, objective, or a goal, you have to direct your 100% of your focus towards that goal. When you're focused on your goal or your mission, any kind of fear or bump in the road is merely just that. It's just a speed bump. You can't let it slow you down. Another thing that kind of helps is when you're in that moment. Anybody can sit here and talk about this. When it gets real is when you're actually in that moment. Like I explained in the last video, you're getting tunnel vision, you're shaky, your legs are weak. You get those little butterflies in your stomach, you start to feel kind of sick, you start to sweat, your heart rate goes up, your breathing goes up. When you're in that moment is when it's the most real. Okay, it's very visceral. So when you're in that moment, one of the things to tell yourself, which by the way, self-talk is absolutely powerful. It's a reason a lot of monks and things do certain mantras, when they're levitating on the top of a mountain or whatever the case is. That's a big reason for it. Self-talk and convincing yourself of whatever it is that's going to make your mission more effective is absolutely powerful. So one of the things to tell yourself is everything is temporary. Everything. Nothing in this life lasts forever. Okay, eternity is a very long time. Eternity and the entire universe is so vast that the human mind is not physically capable of even perceiving that. So, but tell yourself, everything is temporary, because it is. Whatever suffering you're going through now, whatever pain, physical or emotional or mental, you're feeling now is temporary. It will come to an end. It might be tomorrow, it might be in a week, it might be in a year, but it will come to an end. Time is relative, yes, but time heals everything. Okay? When you've tried several different options to try and solve a specific problem to get to your goal, and those things just aren't working, try giving it some time. Time heals everything. One thing I've noticed, and I noticed that a lot of people have noticed themselves, is everything works out somehow. Okay? Some way, somehow, everything falls into place the way it's supposed to be. Another thing about fear is it's natural, and it's necessary for our survival. Without it, I mean, you can do research on something as simple as an animal, a lion or a tiger or even a cricket. Okay, they have a different type of fear, but it's still fear. It's the same survival instinct. It's that fight or flight response that they get when their brain perceives the danger. And without it, they wouldn't last very long themselves, and neither would we. You need to get into the mindset of you're willing to do whatever it takes to get to that mission. Okay? This is a lot easier said than done, and believe me, I know. But when you prepare for the worst, it's a lot better and more effective mentally for your preparation. Because when you prepare for the worst, that way when it happens, you're not freaking out about it. Okay? Here's a big one. Get comfortable with uncomfortable. Okay? Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Whatever scares you, whatever hurts you, desensitize yourself to it. Expose yourself to it a little bit at a time, little by little, and eventually you're going to be desensitized to it, and it's no longer going to faze you anymore. Okay? For example, people with fear of heights start out, you know, I don't know, step on a chair and jump off of it. Then stack up 2 or 3 chairs and jump off of that. Then sit on the roof of your house for a little while and just kind of feel what that feels like. Then eventually start going up. You know, you can take this literally or figuratively, it doesn't matter, but the point is to expose yourself to your fear just a little bit at a time. Start out at a pace that you're comfortable with and grow from there. Okay? It doesn't matter how slow your progress is, as long as you're not stagnant and doing nothing about it. That's where the problem really comes into play, and it's not good for yourself at all. Start to put whatever you're afraid of in your comfort zone. Okay? Start getting comfortable. If you're afraid of heights, for example, start getting comfortable with being up there on the top of a mountain, or in a tall building, or in an airplane, whatever the case is. Start being comfortable with it. Start making the mental connection to perceive that situation differently than you did previously. Okay? Previously, you perceived being on the top of a tall building as scary because, you know, you're afraid of heights. You're telling yourself you're afraid of heights. You've already accepted that about yourself. You made that mental connection. You attached those negative thoughts and feelings to that situation of being on a tall building or somewhere high, and now every time you're in a situation that requires you to face your fear of heights, you get scared. Okay, your body releases those adrenaline hormones, and everything goes down from there. You start to panic, and in survival, and even in everyday life, panic is not good. It's not dangerous. It's not going to kill you, so to speak, itself, but it can inhibit your ability to function effectively, which in a survival situation can get you killed, or it can inhibit your ability to function effectively in everyday life, and through the day-to-day grind will eventually take its toll to the point where you're going to break. Okay? We can only bend so far. Farther than you think, I will add, but there is always a limit. So take whatever it is that you're afraid of, or whatever hurts you, physically, emotionally, or mentally, and put it in your comfort zone. Okay? And realize that it's not that bad. All you have to do to realize that is tell yourself, convince yourself that it's not that bad. Okay? When you do the visualization techniques, going to your happy place, whether you're imagining yourself on a beach, or in the mountains, or with $1 million, whatever the case is, just imagine yourself in that situation, and it kind of redirects your focus to either taking it off of the fear or putting your focus back onto the mission objective, allowing you to function a lot more properly. When you are in that adrenalized state, it can be very difficult. I'm going to do another video segment on that coming up soon. How to control adrenaline, how to control the fight or flight response, what to do when you're actually in that adrenalized state, and how to cope with it and simmer it down a bit so that you can function properly. That'll be coming up soon. But try to work on these. Again, you can work on this through meditation and different types of mental exercises. Okay? So please stay tuned for more videos. Thank you.